Hello everybody, I am so very excited to be bringing you another deck profile on the channel, this deck being a competitive Danger Dark World profile. Now for all of my new viewers, thank you so much for checking me out. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. It helps me out immensely and keeps me motivated to be bringing you guys more Yu-Gi-Oh content such as deck profiles and product openings. For all of my returning viewers, thank you so much for tuning back in. I'm back from my long hiatus and am more motivated than ever to be making content. Now with that out of the way, let's get straight into the Danger Dark World deck profile. I will also be doing test hands at the end of the video, so definitely stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss out on that. Alright, so if any of you are unfamiliar with the gimmick of the Danger archetype, it is more or less all of the Danger monsters have the ability for you to reveal the Danger monster, and then your opponent randomly picks a card from your hand, and you discard that card. Now, if the card that was discarded was not the Danger monster, then you can special summon that Danger monster from your hand, and then draw a card. If it happens that the Danger monster was picked by your opponent and it's discarded, all of the Danger monsters have various discard effects, and the ones that I am playing in the deck profile today, I will be sure to go over with all of you today while we are talking about everything. So starting with the main deck and the main deck monsters, we are going to start with 3 copies of Danger Bigfoot. It is a level 8 Dark Beast, and with the Danger Dark World deck, it is very important, and the main win condition of the deck is basically level 8, like rank 8 spam. A lot of the monsters in the extra deck are rank 8s and allow you to go into negates and you get really high attack monsters out on the field. So we want to play as many level 8 monsters as we can, and the easiest way to do that is to stack the deck full of level 8 monsters that we can get onto the field really easily, starting with, the Dangers and then the Dark Worlds when we get to those. But just starting out with the Dangers, we have 3 copies of Danger Bigfoot, 3,000 attack, 0 defense. The discard effect of Bigfoot is if Bigfoot is discarded, you can target a face-up card on your opponent's side of the field and destroy it, which is super helpful if you're going second and you just need to clear a board and you're able to still go into your rank 8 plays. But more or less, Bigfoot, it's really good. Get it on the field as soon as you can, and then you'll be able to facilitate most of your rank 8 plays. Next up, we have 3 copies of Danger Thunderbird. Danger Thunderbird is another level 8, so we can get those onto the field to go into our rank 8 plays, like I was saying with Danger Bigfoot. The only real difference effect-wise for Thunderbird is if Thunderbird's discarded, you can destroy a target and destroy a face-down card on your opponent's side of the field. So Bigfoot targets and destroys face-up cards on your opponent's side of the field. Danger Thunderbird targets face-down cards on your opponent's side of the field. Still helpful removal, even if Thunderbird does get discarded and you aren't able to special summon it. If you are going second and your opponent does either have face up or face down cards on the field, you can just get some stuff off of their field, so you'll be able to OTK easier. We play a lot of one-offs in the Danger engine, and the first one is going to be Danger Nessie. Danger Nessie is limited, so we do only play the one. Nessie is a level 7, so you're not going to be able to go into your rank 8 plays, unfortunately, but its effect is really good. If it's discarded, you can add a Danger card from your deck to your hand. So depending on where you're at, if you would be able to get either Thunderbird or Bigfoot out to go into your rank 8 plays, or if you're able to go in, get the effect off of Jackalope or another card, then that works as well. Speaking of which, the next one is Jackalope, which is also limited. So Jackalope, level 3, obviously it's not going to really do anything for you if it's on the field, so you want to make sure that it's discarded. If it's discarded, you can special summon a Danger from your deck. So arguably one of the best. Gets it into the graveyard for other plays. Also, just gets a body out on the field, which most of the time will either be a Bigfoot or a Thunderbird. Because like I'm saying, the name of the game for this deck really is just to get as many level 8s on the field as possible, so you can go into negates, so you can go into OTK plays if you're going second. That is just what you need to do and what you need to focus on if you're going second. Second to last danger that we are playing is a copy of Danger Mothman. So Mothman is pretty good. If he's discarded, you can. It's basically a Dark World dealings. Both you and your opponent draw a card and then discard a card. So if you're able to get Mothman on the field, it's not the worst thing in the world, because we do play a really good rank 4, and we do play other level 4s in the deck. So it's not the worst thing if Mothman does get on the field, but realistically, you're just wanting to be, using the effect to get the discard, because discarding is really good in this deck. And then the last one that we are playing is Danger Chupacabra, and we only play one of those. Its effect when it is discarded, it's basically a reborn for the Danger archetype. So if you already have any of the other dangers, ideally, the Thunderbird and the Bigfoot, because they are level 8, you can special summon them from the graveyard. But still not the worst thing in the world, like I was saying, because we do play a good good rank 4. So not the worst thing in the world. The two that you're really going to want to try to avoid to special out is the Jackalope and the Nessie, because they don't really do anything for you other than just be bodies on the field. All right, and that is going to do it for the danger monsters. We're going to go straight into the Dark World package that we are running. It's, I guess it's a medium package. It's not too big, but it's not small either. We're going to start off with 2 copies of Grapha. If Grapha is discarded, you can pop a card on your opponent's side of the field. Pretty self-explanatory. It's also a level 8, which works really well with the rank 8 spam that we're trying to do. I run 2. It's not, we want to make room for other stuff. The Dark World is supplementary to the dangers, I'd say, so we definitely cut down on the amount of Dark World cards that we play, but it's definitely still in there. Graph is still really cool. We play 2 of it, and we are good to go. All right, after that, we are playing 3 copies of Broww. We still play Broww at 3. If it's discarded, you draw a card. Self-explanatory. Why would you not run 3? It's very good. After that, we are running 2 Snoww. Same reason as Grapha. We don't want to see it too often, but it is really good if it is there. The Dark Worlds are really good, so if discard Snoww, get another, get a Broww, get a Grapha. It's all of the plays for this deck are very situational to what you're trying to do. So if there's no one good answer for what you would search off of Snoww if she was discarded. So with the test hands, I'll definitely be able to give you examples of things that options that you can have while you're playing. But yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. But 2 Snoww, and then the last Dark World monster that we were playing 1 Beiige. 1 Beiige, if it's discarded, then it's special summoned, and we play a rank 4. So not the worst thing in the world. Don't want to see it too often, but if it is there, it's not the worst thing to just get a body. All right, and that is it for the Dark World engine. Now we're just going into just a quick tech. Blackwing Zephyros, the elites. It's pretty good. If it's in the graveyard, you can return a face-up monster you control to the hand, and then special this card from the grave, and then take 400 damage. It's one of those cards, one of the few cards that you can only activate once per duel. So it's kind of selective with where you want to use it, but it's really good for getting to use the danger effects, because the revealing and then discarding effects of dangers are not once per turn. The only thing that's once per turn about dangers is the actual discarded effects. So the popping for Bigfoot and Thunderbird, and so on and so forth. But play 1 Zephyros. It comes up every now and again. It's pretty good. Not complaining. All right, and from there we have some hand traps that we can talk about. Obviously, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Excuse me. You know, it's Ash. It's never not going to be good. It's good. You know, if your opponent tries to add anything from the deck or do anything with the deck, basically, you negate it. It's good. Pretty self-explanatory. Run 3 always. I'm playing 2 Ghost Belle and Haunted Mansion right now. There's a lot of decks right now that rely on the graveyard and specialing from the graveyard and just doing things from the graveyard. So if we can cut them off of that, then we're in pretty good shape. Now, the last, I guess, hand trap that we run is going to be Infinite Impermanence, and we're going to run 3. It's good. It's really good, especially with this deck. You know, you just set it, cut off your opponent from stuff that they're going to want to do. It's 8 total. It's not the worst. It's not the best. You can side out or replace these with things that you think would be good for what you're doing. But those are the ones that I choose to run. They've worked out pretty well for me, you know, playing online and testing and stuff like that. So that's just what I'm running. If you have any other suggestions as far as like hand traps go, please do let me know down in the comments. I'd definitely love to hear what you are all playing. All right, so getting into the main deck spells, we are playing 3 copies of Dark World Dealings. It is a good card, you know. It's super simple, and it does really good in this sort of discard deck. Both of your opponent draw a card, and then you both discard a card. Cycles through your deck, gets some good effects off of, you know, if you discard your Dark World monsters, you can get those effects, or if you need a specific effect from your from your dangers, you know, Jackalope, Nessie, and the non-rank 8 or the non-level 8 ones, I should say. It's good. Run 3, no reason not to. Same kind of logic with Drag Down to the Grave. With this deck, it's really easy to manipulate your hand. So you can, if you have a specific card that you want to be discarded, just make sure that that's the last card in your hand, and then you're able to get hand knowledge for what your opponent has, and then if they have a really good card that you just want out of their hand, you can get rid of it. If they have hand traps, if they have engine cards that are really good, you can just get rid of them like that. So 3 drag down, pretty good. Another way to just cycle through your deck with new cards. And then along the same lines as that, we play 3 Allure of Darkness. I think all of the main deck monsters are darks. So draw 2, banish a dark. If you don't have a dark, then you discard your entire hand. Or your entire hand is sent to the graveyard. So there shouldn't really ever be a situation where you're forced to discard your entire hand because your entire deck is darks, aside from the hand traps. But other than that, yeah, you should be good to go. Just play 3 Allure of Darkness. More draw power is good. And then I'm playing 1 Charge into a Dark World. Charge into a Dark World isn't really a tech anymore, but it's pretty good if you see your Dark Worlds a lot. Then you can, you know, cycle through that, get Grapha out pretty easy if you have the right setup, or you can discard the Chupacabra and get that effect. It's pretty good. You don't want to see it a ton. That's why I only have it at 1, because it is kind of situational with the rest of the archetype, but it is there. And then our kind of power 1-ofs, we run 1 card destruction. It is really good. It's limited to 1, or we would play it more, but cycle through the deck, get a lot of discard effects, and then you're good to go. And then the last card in the deck and the last spell, 1 Monster Reborn. Most of the time, you're gonna be there are going to be times where, unfortunately, you do discard the cards that you want to keep in your hand and that you want to special summon. Especially the Bigfoot and the Thunderbird are going to be those main targets. So it's just an easy way to, you know, get them out on the field so you can go into the plays that you want to do. So there is all of that, and that wraps up the main deck. All right, so for the extra deck, we'll start off with the Exceeds. We're going to be playing one Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is pretty good, very good. Like I was saying, a lot of decks this format are relying on the graveyard and effects activating in the graveyard. So if you can get Abyss Dweller out, just cut off access for your opponent to be doing anything with their graveyard. So rank 4 is pretty good, and then we'll go straight into the quote unquote bread and butter of the deck, which is going to be your rank 8s. We'll start off with Hieratic Sun Dragon, Overlord of Heilopolis. Really good for non-targeting destruction. And like I said, with my pure Dark World deck, there's so many cards these days that can't be targeted. Dragoon, a lot of other just really big boss monsters. And while this card won't deal with Dragoon because it can't be destroyed, it'll get around the non-targeting issues that a lot of cards have these days. Next card that we have up is going to be Dingirsu, the Orcus of the Evening Star. It's kind of just spot removal, more or less, except it's an on-summon type of deal. Just another good rank 8 to use. After that, we can start to go into negations. We have a number 23, Lancelot, a Dark Knight of the Underworld. All of these monsters are generic, 2 level 8 monsters, and Abyss Dweller is 2 level 4 monsters. This card can attack directly while it has Exceed material, and then if you inflict battle damage with this card, you can target a face-up monster that your opponent controls and destroy it. And then the negation part of it is that once per turn, during either player's turn, when a spell or trap card or another monster effect, so it's basically an Omni Negate, is activated, you can detach a material and negate the activation. It doesn't destroy, but it is a negation. The only caveat with this is that it is a mandatory negation, so it will be the first thing that your opponent activates. It will negate. So you won't be able to selectively choose what gets negated, but a negation is better than none. Next, rank 8 is going to be number 22, Zombie Stein. Like I said in my pure Dark World deck, this is a big fuck off 4,500 beat stick. The only caveat with this thing, 2 level 8 dark monsters, but like I said, with Allure of Darkness, it really is all of the main deck monsters that you're going to be using are dark, so that shouldn't be an issue to go into. This card also does have a negation effect, so if you're if an opponent's monster activates an effect, you can detach a card, send a card from your hand to the graveyard. So it is you won't be able to get any discard effects, unfortunately. But you switch Zombie Stein to defense, and then you negate the activation. Actually, you just negate that card's effects until the end of the turn, which is pretty cool. And actually, that does work with any card. It says face-up card, not just monster. So that was my mistake. Next card that we are going into is going to be number 107, Galaxy Eyes Tachyon, 2 level 8 monsters, and then once per battle phase. At the start of the battle phase, detach a material from the card. All of the face-up monsters currently on the field have their effects negated. Also, their attack and defense become the original. During the battle this turn, each time an opponent's card resolves, this card gains 1,000 attack into the end of the battle phase, and it can make a second attack. It's pretty cool. I don't see a lot of people running number 107 anymore. It's still pretty good in my opinion. I use it a lot. It's definitely not bad. If you have any other options for it, then feel free to swap it out. But I like running it. It's definitely not a bad card. Next rank 8 we have is number 62, Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragons, 2 level 8 monsters. If it battles, if this card battles, quick effect, you can detach a material, and then it gains attack equal to all face-up ranks on the field. So that includes itself times 200. So at the very least, during the battle phase, if it attacks, it'll have a minimum of 5,600. Yeah, it'll have a minimum of 5,600. And then if you have anything else out, then it can get even bigger after that. So we don't use the secondary effect because it requires other things to go along with it. But that is what we use that for if you do need to get over any other big things. But yeah, we run number 62. It's good. It can get over an access code that has the extra 3,000 attack, which is the most common access code that you're going to run into. When it'll have the 5,300. So automatically, if the effect doesn't get negated, you can just beat right over it, which is pretty cool. So getting into the probably your best choices for everything, we have a number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. It's a generic 2 level 8s. Once returned, when a spell card or effect is activated, you can negate the effect and attach that card to number 38 as material. The other effect, which isn't as important because your opponent can play around it pretty easily, is that if your opponent declares an attack, you can detach a material and have this be the target for that attack instead. So if your opponent doesn't know about the effect, then you can like pull a sneaky one on them. But for the most part, you just use it for the spell card negation, which is also pretty cool. So the main ranks that we're going to be using is going to be the number 97 and number 100. Now with Draglubion, it's kind of just the best card in the deck. It's generic, 2 level 8 monsters. Your opponent can't target the card with effects. You can detach a material from the card, take 2 dragon number monsters, which we have a ton of them. Take 2 dragon number monsters with different names from your extra deck and or the graveyard, which is cool. People forget about that you can also use it from the graveyard, except for number 97, and special summon one of them and attach the other one as material. And then for the rest of this turn, you can't special summon other monsters or declare an attack except with that special summon monster. You can only use the effect once returned. Now, if you're going second, you are always going to, for the most part, you're always going to be going into number 100. And now with this, we don't really care about the summoning condition because we just get it out with Draglubion. But once returned, detach a material, which will be the other one that's attached off of Draglubion. Detach a material. This card gains attack equal to the combined ranks of all Xyz monsters currently on the field times 1,000, and until the end of your opponent's turn. So that means at the bare minimum, because you're gonna have Draglubion and you're gonna have number 100. So that's a minimum of 9,000. So if you're able to clear your opponent's board before you go into this, it's an OTK no matter what. It's really good. I don't really have anything else to say other than it's an easy way to just win, which is really good. And then the secondary effect, which doesn't come up as often, but it does come up. The secondary effect, when this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can destroy as many monsters on the field as possible with a minimum of 1. Then each player sets a spell or trap card from their graveyard to their field. When an opponent's monster declares an attack while this card is in your graveyard and you have no cards in your hand or on the field, you can special summon this card. The third effect doesn't come up at all, but it does sometimes come up with the amount of gas that this deck has, and with the ability to kind of just discard it, draw and summon. Sometimes you'll be able to have no cards on in your hand or on the field, and then that'll come in handy. The nuke effect is pretty cool if they're able to survive and then out this somehow. Which isn't, super unlikely. But going first, most of the time, you'll end up wanting to use Draglubion, use the effect of Draglubion to go into 38 with another number dragon as material. So you'll have a body that's in defense and then a negation, which is good. So if you're going first, go into the 38, and if you're going second and you have a way to clear your opponent's board and get an open field, go into the number 100. All right, and then the very last Exceed that we are playing is Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. Now, this is kind of like a last resort type deal, where if you really can't get over something, then you can get Zeus out by attacking with an Exceed card and then laying Zeus onto it with its alternate summoning condition, and then detach and then clear the board. You will have to send everything that you have to the graveyard except for Zeus, but it's worth it to kind of just non-targeting removal everything. So we do play the one Zeus. Zeus is really good. Shout out to my roommate, by the way, for letting me borrow this for the profile. Check him out on Dueling Book Brick Magnet. He loves his blue eyes, so there's that. But yeah, shout out to my roommate for letting me borrow the Zeus. All right, and for the last few cards for the extra deck, we have our links. We have a basic nightmare package. So we run the one Cerberus. It's two monsters with different names, so pretty generic. If it's special summon, if it's link summon, then you can discard a card, and then target a special summon monster and destroy it. It's fine. It's pretty good. It's just good to link climb into while also getting your getting effects and climbing up. In the same vein, we have the Nightmare Unicorn, the Link 3, 2+ monsters with different names. If it's link summon, discard a card and then shuffle a card from your opponent's field back to the deck. So a really good way to out, big boss monsters if you aren't able to get over them with the attack. Also just really good for climbing up. And then with that, that's the only nightmares those are the only nightmares that we run. You could, if you wanted to, take out something else for the Nightmare Phoenix if you wanted to. I probably will at some point just cycle it out because it's good. And it's also just another name that you can go into to climb up. But for now, these are the two that I have in. Then our last two cards, we have one Saryuya, Skuldread. It's really good for setting up your hand if you really need to. And with how many times that we can special summon with this deck, it's not super hard to go into. I feel like a lot of newer players don't really see how good Saryuya is, but with testing and playing, it's really good that you can just set up your hand for whatever you need it to be. And then the last card that we play, we do run one access code. I know I was just talking about outing access code, but if you're going, if you're climbing from Cerberus to Nightmare to access code, you get the one pop from Cerberus, you get the shuffle back from Unicorn, and then access code, you get the effect to banish link monsters from your graveyard and then pop cards on your opponent's side of the field. So while you're climbing up, you are able to fuel your graveyard for the access code effect. And then of course the main effect of access code, when it's link summoned, you can target one of the monsters one of the link monsters that was used for its summon. And then access code gains 1,000 attack based on that monster's link rating. So most of the time that'll be Nightmare Unicorn. So you can gain 1,000. So it's up to 5,300, which is really good. And then you'll have two pops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and that's most of the time good enough to clear any board. So there is that. And that is the entirety of the extra deck. That was the main and the extra deck. So there is that. Now we're going to get into the test hands. I'm super excited for this. I'm super excited to show you guys how this deck performs with everything. So we'll get into that now. All right, so we'll get into a couple test hands here. I will showcase going first and second. This one will be going first, just to kind of show you what the deck can do. Obviously, I don't have a real opponent for this, but I will use a dice for the danger discard effect. So let's go ahead and get started with this. So we open a Drag Down, a Zephyros, a Broww, a Ash, and an Allure. So with this hand, we didn't open any of the dangers. So for this, we're going to want to go ahead and kind of cycle through. So we'll go ahead and activate the Allure of Darkness. That'll get us 2 more draws. So we get Nessie and another Broww, which isn't the worst. We can still work with this. So we will go ahead and reveal the Nessie, just 1 through 6. I will go ahead and roll. That's going to be a 1. So that'll be the Zephyros, which it's not great. We'll go ahead and special summon the Nessie and then draw a card. Now this hand is not great. So 2 Ash, 2 Broww, and a Drag Down. So we'll go ahead and activate the Drag Down. Obviously, they'll probably end up discarding one of the ash, so we can go ahead and draw another. We'll go ahead and activate the Dark World dealings that we just drew, so we'll both draw and then discard one. Then in a new chain, Broww will activate. We can draw one card. We get the monster Reborn. So from here, we don't have a ton that we can do. So we will go ahead and activate the effect of Zephyros. So what we do is we return a monster that we have to the hand, special summon out the Zephyros, and then we take 400 damage. And then, like I was saying in the profile, Zephyros is one of those cards that you can only activate once per duel. So there is that. Now, what we have left is this. So we'll go ahead and try to preserve as much as we can. So we'll go ahead and set the monster Reborn because we definitely don't want to accidentally discard that. So we'll go ahead and activate the Nessie again. We'll go 1 through 4. We'll roll off screen, so we'll roll again. All right, and that is a 4. Perfect. So we will discard the Nessie. We'll activate the Nessie to add a danger monster from deck to hand. So we will go ahead and grab, you could grab the Thunderbird or the Bigfoot. It doesn't really matter, but we'll go ahead and we'll shuffle real quick and cut. And we'll add the Bigfoot to the hand. And now we'll go ahead and activate the Bigfoot again, or we'll activate the effect of the Bigfoot. So we'll roll 1 through 4. That's a 6. We'll re-roll. That's a 1, so that'll be the Broww. Not a bad hit. So we'll special out the Bigfoot. We will draw a card off of the Bigfoot effect, and then a separate chain. We'll go Broww. That'll draw us another card, and that's a Thunderbird. So pretty good again. So we will. We'll go ahead. We'll keep the card destruction in hand. You could set it, or you can keep it in the hand. But at this point, we just want to get this Thunderbird out. So we want to increase that chance. So we're going to leave the card destruction in the hand. So we're going to activate the Thunderbird, and we'll roll 1 through 4. And that is a 6, and we will re-roll, and that is a 3, which is the card destruction. Unfortunate, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and special out the Thunderbird, and we will draw a card off of the Thunderbird. A lot of hand traps, which isn't a bad thing, but we have that, and then we also have the Monster Reborn set. So from here, what we can do, let's take a quick look back through the graveyard. Not a whole lot here, but we could save the Monster Reborn for follow-up since we are going first. So what we can do now, and what we are going to do, is we're going to overlay for Draglubion, and we're going to put that in defense actually, and then from there we are going to activate the effect of Draglubion. To detach. Doesn't matter if you detach the Bigfoot or the Thunderbird. We just want to make sure that we're getting that effect. So we are going to since we're going first, we are going to be getting out the number 38. So we are going to summon the 38 in defense. So now what we have going first is we have 2 hand traps, Ash as a once per turn. So we have a Ghost Belle and an Ash Blossom in hand. We have a Monster Reborn set for next turn for follow-up. And we have a Zephyros, which right now is just a body, unfortunately. We have a Draglubion, which can't be targeted and is a 3,000 defense and attack. And we have a Spell Negate, and then we take it and attach it as material. So we didn't open the greatest, but we did, go through enough of the deck to manage to set up an okay board, and we definitely have enough interruption that we should be okay going into the next turn. So that was an example of a going first hand. Now I will show you an example of a going second hand. But yeah, we'll get straight into that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get shuffled up for the going second hand. And we'll just say that, the opponent has a monster or 2 out. And we can go from there. All right, so get all 5 of our starting hands. So we are starting out with Charge into a Dark World, Allure of Darkness, Infinite Impermanence, a Nessie, and a Dark World Dealings. Now, this hand is, it's definitely decent. So what we can do starting right off the bat is we do have Dark World Dealings and a Nessie. So Nessie is one of the ones that we want the discard effect from. So what we can do, we're going to start off with a Dark World Dealings. Both us and our opponent are going to draw 1 and then discard 1. So also drew a second Imperm, which is really good. We can discard the Nessie, and then we'll get the effect of the Nessie to add a danger monster from deck to hand. So we're just going to add the Bigfoot, and we'll get shuffled up again. All right. All right, now that we have the Bigfoot in our hand, what we can do is we can do a couple things. We can reveal the Bigfoot now, or we can just go straight into dealings. I'm inclined to reveal the Bigfoot just so because we have 2 Imperm, and we have an Allure, so chances are we won't hit the Bigfoot. So we're going to go ahead and reveal the Bigfoot, 1 through 5. I'm going to re-roll that. All right, and it is a 1. So we're going to discard the Charge into a Dark World. We'll special summon the Bigfoot and then draw a card, and it is a Grapha. Now, with this hand, we are kind of forced to activate the Allure of Darkness since we can't do anything else, so we are going to draw 2 cards. We draw a Thunderbird and a Snoww, which is pretty good. So we are going to here, we're going to banish the Snoww for the Allure of Darkness, and from here we are going to activate the effect of Thunderbird, reveal it 1 through 4. So we will go, that's a 6. And that is a 2. So we're going to discard one of the Impermanence, and we are going to special summon the Thunderbird and draw another card, another Bigfoot. That's awesome. So we're going to activate the effect of the Bigfoot, reveal the Bigfoot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are going to roll. That is 3, so that's Grapha. That's awesome, which means that we can activate the discard effect from Grapha to pop a card on our opponent's side of the field, and then special summon the Bigfoot and draw a card from the Bigfoot. Now, we drew Dealings, which is pretty good. We don't have anything that would give us a super advantage from that, but we can activate the Dealings and hope that we draw something good. Drag down, it won't really do anything for us right now, so we'll go ahead and discard the drag down. And then after that, we have an Imperm, which we could have activated earlier in the turn if we needed to get something, to negate something on the field. So we can go ahead and set that. And then similar to last turn, or to the previous hand, we are going to overlay the Thunderbird and the Thunderbird and the Bigfoot. We're going to go into the Draglubion, but we're going to go into it in attack position. And then ideally, I probably should have put that in attack position. So forgive me for that. Let's just say that I put it in attack. So we are going to detach the Thunderbird. Doesn't really matter what you detach, but we are going to go into the Numeron Dragon with doesn't really matter what you put onto it. We're going to go into the Numeron Dragon, and then from there we can we can activate the Numeron Dragon. Its effect will allow us to go to gain, or it will allow it to gain 1,000 attack for every rank that's on the field. So that's 9 total, and then you can either attack directly for game, or you can attack into something, and then you'll be ready next turn with the follow up from Imperm, and then with a Draglubion that can't be targeted, and then another Bigfoot. So that's basically it. If you guys have any suggestions or something that you think would run really well in the deck, then please do let me know. Please let me know your thoughts on the deck. This is a kind of a basic end board to end on. You have your Imperm. If you have any other hand traps that you manage to draw, like the next turn, another drag down, and then a Mothman. But you're normally able to end on, if you're going first, a spell and trap negate, and then an Imperm set, or if you have any hand traps left in your hand. And then going second, you're very easily able to go into Numeron Dragon, and then depending on what your opponent has, you can just OTK straight into it. But the deck does have the ability to go into multiple negates, or if you're going second, go into Access Code, go into Zeus if you're having trouble with it's a big toolbox and with a lot of different things that you can do. But yeah, this is my version that I run, and I am very much looking forward to hearing what you guys think, and any changes that you yourself would make or anything like that. So thank you guys all for tuning in. I do have one announcement before I let you go. All right, guys. So before I let you go, there is one thing that I want to let you guys know. The channel itself will be undergoing a little bit of a change. The name is going to be changing. I'm not exactly sure when it'll be changing, but it will be soon. I'm kind of constructing a real identity for the channel and for what I want the channel to be going forward into the future. There's going to be a lot more deck profiles more than anything. I still will be opening up product and doing all of the stuff that I was normally doing, but it's mostly going to be deck profiles and things along that line. I did want to, before I changed the channel name and got that going, I did want to make sure that I got the Danger Dark World deck profile out, kind of as a send off for the channel mascot and the name of the channel, which is of course Dark World. Being as still my favorite archetype. It was my favorite archetype playing against when I was a kid. So I'm really happy that I was able to get the pure variant and the danger variant out. I'm really happy that that all of that was able to happen. Thank you all so much for hanging out and watching my content and subscribing and liking and commenting and doing everything that you guys do, because it really means a lot. It really keeps me going. It really, it warms my heart, as cheesy as it is. So thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for lots more deck profiles. Stay tuned for lots more openings. Stay tuned for a lot. Hit subscribe if you're new, please. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.